Jon Jones has officially retired from the UFC, and I want to talk about this today because there are many elements of this topic which interest me, right? Far beyond just all the people online who are complaining about the fact that he's, should be recognized as the GOAT, or other people who are like, he shouldn't be in there, he hasn't defended his title. And let's look at how long. I mean, he's been the UFC heavyweight champion for a long time. I'm scrolling here. Okay, let's take a look. So he beat Stipe 2024, November 16th. Okay, so it's not as long ago as I thought. I thought it was over a year ago. Yeah, big gaps between fights, especially the fact that with Cyril Gane, he won the heavyweight title, and that was a year and a half between fights. And this is one of the things that really frustrates me about fight sports in general. If we look up here at one of these articles, there's inconsistency. Here we go. Inconsistency in how different fighters are treated. Now we have Cain Velasquez, who is his teammate, saying he's glad that Jon Jones' title reign has ended before he could break a UFC record. It's probably Cain Velasquez' UFC record because he held the title, the heavyweight title, for something like 890 days, and Jon Jones was approaching that, like 2 months away, but holding kind of as an inactive fighter. Now we have seen many fighters get stripped after not defending a title for 1 year. Whereas Jon Jones has been given a little bit of leeway, I'd say multiple times throughout his career. Now, another thing that was quite interesting to me, at least in terms of, maybe Jon Jones retired because of, is the day after he retired, he's hit with more criminal charges. And those criminal charges, in my opinion, have definitely blackened the legacy that he has. Not only because it just doesn't make you the best champion in terms of look, but just also, I like fighters like George St. Pierre who have a nice clean slate, at least as far as we know. Doesn't change the fact that he's a great fighter. Absolutely a great fighter, Jon Jones. But obviously he fought Daniel Cormier a couple times, and Cormier had a lot to say when the fight, or when Jon Jones said that, okay, you know what, I'm done, I'm not fighting anymore. Cormier was right in there last night. And one of the most interesting things is we have to remember the second fight between Cormier and Jon Jones was ruled a no contest because of drugs. Now, certain fighters get popped for drugs. Sometimes it's hush-hushed, very quiet, and everybody kind of forgets very quickly. People like myself do not. I do not forget which fighters popped and tested positive. Even somebody like Canelo Alvarez, who's deemed like one of the best boxers in the world, he, in my mind, has a tainted record because he has had times where he's like, okay, I got tested positive, and he just gets kind of a slap on the wrist. Jon Jones, many people sort of forget that, okay, he did have an amazing career at light heavyweight, but yes, he did have that drug history. And if he's done it once, fights before, you 100% could be like, oh, was he taking drugs during those times? And yes, it's an unfair advantage. To me, it tarnishes a legacy. Still doesn't take away the fact that he is an amazing fighter, absolutely. But you take those small little things, those small little advantages, and all of a sudden, So now what we see is Tom Aspinall has been promoted to the UFC heavyweight champion. He's been sitting on the sideline as the interim one for a long time. And again, this takes me back to the beginning of the episode where I was talking about how I don't like the fact that there is inconsistency in how fighters are treated. Let me expand on that. Within golf, within tennis, if you want to get to the highest level, you go win a regional tournament. From there, you qualify for something else. go win the next tournament, you qualify for something else, you start climbing the rankings, even if you're not a fan favorite, even if you're not somebody that the league or the sanctioning body or the promotion wants to have you there, they cannot stop you. Fighting is very different. Promotions select fighters who are going to sell, and I understand that, but it leads certain people to be treated unfairly and other fighters to be treated in such a spectacular way. So the fact that Tom Aspinall sat as an interim champion where he could have been taking fights, now you have Dana White today saying like, we'll make it up to him. We'll make it up to Aspinall because he lost out on a lot of money, lost out on fights. But there are other people in the world who are great fighters and they will never get their opportunity. I was very lucky that I got an opportunity. It could have easily gone the other way because there was no specific way for me to climb the rankings. On my Instagram the other day, I put out a post where I was talking about some big promotions in the world. Canada, Australia, England. These are the promotions that you have to get into if you want to get to the bigger ones. Having a list like that can be very invaluable. I wish I had something like that. I had to do my own research to find which promotions were the best to fight for. But Jon Jones, going back to him, amazing fighter again. I will never take that away from somebody who had so many victories, who was so dominant for so long. But when people stop and they go, okay, the greatest of all time, first of all, I think that's a foolish argument to be having because weight classes mean that you're fighting a different group of fighters than other people. And sometimes at one weight class, the fighters are so elite. Other times, they're not so elite. And this other weight class has amazing fighters. So to do this cross comparison and argue who's the greatest, who's this, who's that, Jon Jones, how should his legacy be remembered? I don't care about the GOAT conversation. For me at this point, I'm going, thank you, UFC, for removing him. There's other fighters who are waiting. There's other fighters whose dreams have been on hold. It's not fair to hold up a division for one person, even if you really like that guy. If Dana White really goes, oh, this guy, in my opinion, is the GOAT, and I'm going to give him special treatment. I don't think that's fair to everybody else. And it makes me sad because there are so many fighters out there who are just pining to get their opportunity, and one fighter holds it up and everything else gets held up as a result. So for me, I'm just happy to hear that, okay, this has come and gone and people can move on. You can say what you want about who's the greatest. You know, George St. Pierre, Khabib, Demetrius Johnson. You're never gonna know. It's like a wasted conversation to me. If two guys didn't fight, then speculating, who cares? People are like, oh, Tyson or Ali, who would win? Who cares, right? It's not gonna happen. It's just speculation. You can argue both sides. Nobody's ever gonna be right. It'll never be proven. But in terms of Jon Jones being out of the UFC, and he's had a great career, but also brought a lot of drama, negative drama, to the fight world. I think that's bad for the sport. I think it makes the average person think that all fighters are like that. All fighters have a criminal record. All fighters can't be trusted. All fighters are bad people. That's what we often see. We don't obviously highlight the good fighters, right? They don't get that same notoriety. You get a couple guys like right now, maybe Ilia Topuria, who is big name. As far as I can tell, seems like a very decent dude, a family dude. Haven't heard anything bad about him, so I hope that somebody like him with amazing skill set can continue to shine and hopefully even someday outshine McGregor, who now has just brought so much negativity again to his name. But what do you guys think? I guess very often in the comments, I'm just looking to hear what you guys think about Jon Jones retiring. Was it time, or should he have stuck around? Does it hurt his legacy to leave without fighting Aspinall? Right? A lot of people are saying if you want to be the best, you got to fight Aspinall. At this point, to me, I'm just like, let's let the division move on. That's all.